In this video, I'm going to break down the best award-winning competition boards of 2024, show what elements of their composition, story, and design made them the winners or at least win second or third place, and by the end of the video, give you a 5-step guide on what you need to create a winning competition board and give your future submissions the edge that they deserve. I'll be breaking down the winners and runner-ups from 3 of the biggest competitions of last year, which are the House of the Future competition, the Micro Home competition, and the Builders Unbuilt Award. You can find all of the competition results, boards, and jury text at architecturecompetitions.com, a site organized by Builder, which as a matter of fact, I've actually taken part of in a couple of their competitions. Now let's start with our first competition, the Micro Home competition, and let's break down the competition boards of the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st place. For the Micro Home competition, the main goal was to design an off-grid modular dwelling for a hypothetical young professional couple. So for the 3rd place winner, one of the outstanding characteristics of all the boards is the visual cohesiveness between the renders, the diagrams, the plans, and even the selection of the typography. In the majority of the boards, we have a strict grid layout that even uses colored rectangles in the background as a division of space and emphasizes the readability of the project. So this proposal starts from the broad issue the design is approaching, which is inaccessible housing for young people in European cities, and how the unused rooftops of Barcelona could present a solution to this problem. So the main image, a site plan of all the proposed rooftops, and a text with the main problem and the proposal. So from the start, it's a proposal that's very easy to understand. In our second board, we have a vertical grid layout that divides the board in 3 specific parts, as you guys can see here: materiality, assembly, and kingspan, which goes into detail on how feasible this is to make and how it's put together. And in the 3rd and 4th competition board, we mostly have more renderings of how the final proposal looks in a floor plan in relation to the sun diagrams that explains its sustainability aspects. The only drawing that maybe I would have probably added to these boards would have been a section of the house, and even also a drawing that shows some people and some life. Like whenever I think of Barcelona, I think of a ton of people gathered, drinking, having fun. So maybe that would have added a slight touch to the community aspect of the rooftops. Now let's jump on to our 2nd place winner of the same competition, which is composed of these 4 boards. And to me, what instantly grabs my attention is the big title that says, "Why is living in Hong Kong so exhausting?" So alongside 2 impactful renders of the proposal in what appears to be the middle of Hong Kong, and then I start to notice the extreme amount of technical detail in the section, the floor plans, the diagrams, and the analysis. So composition-wise, these 4 boards have more or less the same reticular grid that divides the boards into 2 different parts. One half is dedicated to a main image, which can be a render, a section, or an exploded axonometric. And the second half is dedicated mostly to text that complements the drawings or additional plans, diagrams, and renders that also complement the main images. So what I love about this proposal visually is the contrast between this dusk, high-quality exterior renderings and the extremely technical line drawings where you can see the structural system, the dimensions, the furniture, and a breakdown of each material. I just think it looks great. Also, for the axonometric diagrams to be in a black solid fill with white lines, that creates this like stark contrast, and it's so pleasing to watch that it feels like you're seeing spreads from an architecture magazine. So maybe I would have tried to synthesize the text a bit more, similar to the areas where each furniture element is explained, where there is no more than 4 lines of text for each element in comparison to the other paragraphs that seem kind of dense to me. But overall, great presentation skills. By far, one of the best I have seen in a while. Now let's take a look at the winner of the Micro Home competition, which is this extremely detailed and thorough proposal that you can see displayed here. So from the start, I noticed that the organization is very different from the other 2 submissions we saw before. The grid used to arrange information is all more or less in equal proportion in size and in hierarchy, whereas in the other 2, there was a clear hierarchy of images and the grid was focused on certain specific elements. So only in the first board we see a main render of the interior of the home alongside some diagrams, graphs, and text explaining the main issue that the project is tackling. In the second and third board, we see a reticular division of similar proportion. In the second board, there is a 3-column arrangement where we have sections, then some detailed axonometrics, and then an exploded axonometric of the complete module. So probably my favorite board is the third board, where similar to a book, we see a series of sequential diagrams that display the primary modification to the volume, then some sections displaying different systems, and finally a series of diagrams showing the sustainable adjustments done to the building to enhance its performance and overall functionality. The first place has a strong architectural and environmental proposal, and probably that's the main reason why it won, I think. Although I would have reduced the amount of text in each board, used a more consistent color palette throughout each drawing, and also used more white space to make each drawing breathe a little bit more. But overall, great job. Now, seeing these incredible entries, you might be wondering, hey Steven, how can I participate in them? Well, one of the cool things about these competitions that we are breaking down is the fact that each year the team at Buildner creates a new edition and brings in a different jury. So for example, this was the 7th edition of the Microhome competition, and the 8th edition is now available to sign up for, and actually the closing dates for the registration is until this 13th of February. So if you have some cool ideas to share about microhomes, this is the perfect chance to sign up. The prize fund is 100,000 euros, and also you can use the code SHOW25 for a slight discount of the registration fee. So from these 3 competition proposals, we can understand what key factors may have played a role in the judge's decision. And I would resume it in visual cohesiveness for the third proposal, excellent layout design and drawing quality for the second proposal, and an insane amount of detailed work and investigation for the first proposal. With the microhome competition wrapped up, let's dive into the House of the Future entries and see how they tackled the challenge of creating modern Emirati homes. For the third place, what probably stands out the most is the use of hand drawing techniques for drawings like the facade details, floor plans, and even concept diagrams. These 3 concept diagrams probably do a better job of explaining the whole project than the other blocks of text found in the presentation boards. Additionally, we see some renders that show different parts of the house and at different times of day, which is also interesting to see due to the importance of the context in this competition. Maybe I would have put a bit more attention in the layout of the presentation board. So as you can see, there are huge chunks of text that are aligned to the left, others to the right, and others to the middle. So additionally, adding subtitles before each paragraph helps synthesize and read the board in a better way. Now, this second place winner was again one of my absolute favorites from this whole video. As you can see, due to the perfect layout used in the presentation boards, it's a project that's easy to read, impactful, and cohesive. So the layout of these boards are arranged around a hierarchical grid, where the main render in each board is the protagonist and is displayed in a vertical ratio. Each render is perfectly done, and you can feel the texture of the walls, the warmth of the sun coming in, and the monolithic space that the project proposes. So on the opposite side of each render, we can find different technical drawings that are very well done, like exploded axonometrics, floor plans, sections, and axonometric diagrams. Each drawing has a high quality of detail to them and a good use of line weight as well. So perhaps I would have liked to see a bigger longitudinal section and a little bit less text in this area of the presentation board. Overall, I was really impressed by the quality of these renders and how you can almost feel the silence in the environment when looking at them. So great job. And going on to the first place winner of the competition, we find ourselves with a very interesting and vernacular sort of design that is mixed up with a detailed technical explanation of how the sustainable elements of the house are put in place. So similar to the third place winner, we have a presentation board that dedicates an entire board to one main render with a bit of text on the top. A render, which is important to mention, is very well composed for this proportion. It understands the importance of leaving some breathing room for the eyes to focus more on the house by leaving room for sky and room for the foreground. Also, there's a cohesive color palette within the drawings and the renders. This off-white alongside green and desert orange give it a sense of character that's very specific to this proposal. Another thing that I really liked about this proposal was the ease with which you can read the floor plans and sections from afar. Now, when you have all white drawings with thin black lines, you sometimes have to zoom into each drawing to understand the spatial proposal. But with these drawings, in an instant, you can understand how the space is organized. The subtle touch of adding shadows to your section and showing that there is also a patio space within the proposal is also very well executed. As for the layout, each presentation board has a specific title which situates the jury and helps them understand what they're about to see in each board. Probably I would have organized a bit more the fourth presentation board and tried to make it look more cohesive in relation to the other boards. From afar, the interior renders and the drawings look from a different proposal than the first three boards. So from the three proposals of this competition, we can summarize the importance of three key elements in your proposal. First, the magic of using hand-drawn sketches to communicate concepts and drawings. Second, the importance of sticking to a strict layout composition principle and designing your layout around that. And third, the practicality in knowing how to communicate drawings like floor plans and sections with elements like shadows, human figures, darkened walls, and textual conventions. And for our third competition breakdown, we are going to go to the Builders Unbuilt Awards, where it's basically a platform for architects and designers to showcase their most inspiring unbuilt projects, whether they're conceptual, published, unpublished, or fully developed, and get the opportunity to win a prize while doing it. So for the large scale winner, we have the project Eden 2.0 with this single presentation board that is really well designed and arranged. If we break it down, we can see that the board is divided into two main parts. One has renders and the other one has texts and drawings. And these two parts are also divided into two different parts, almost in a kind of reflected kind of way, which serves the purpose, and it's really easy to digest. If we take a closer look at these drawings, you'll be amazed by this incredible level of detail and sketchy feel to it. Plus, the general soft green color palette of the whole board paired with a serif type that matches the character of the project is spot on. So if you're doubting on how to lay out your project in a presentation board, this is a perfect example that you can follow. For the small scale winner, we have a beautiful proposal divided into a series of drawings of different scales, like a site plan, a section, and a floor plan, and also paired along with photo mock-ups from the inside, the exterior, and the general context. Now, each project in the competition has a specific context, and perhaps the text in this one was more relevant than any other competitions where I generally recommend to keep your text to a minimum. The text here feels like an active participant in the design and intentionality of the project. Plus, it's all laid out on a reticular grid that goes along with the verticality of the project. And here I also want to highlight the best presentation board proposal, which highlights a physical model of the project and pairs it with a series of technical sections and floor plans that instantly give away the topographical character of the proposal. The general grid of the proposal is really interesting in that each image has a 1:1 aspect ratio except for the photograph of the maquette and the floor plan. Now, I would love to break down the medium scale and student awards from this competition as well as many other competition boards from last year, but I think that video would take more than an hour long. And before I give you the step-by-step guide on how to create a winning competition board, I do want to thank the team at Buildner for reaching out and sponsoring this video. All opinions on these projects and views were my own. The team at Buildner just helped me out by giving me full access to high quality versions of these competition boards and also hooked us up with a special discount code for you to use in any of these three competitions. The closing date for the registration to the Unbuilt Award is October 30th with a prize fund of 100,000 euros. And the closing date for the registration to the House of the Future is April 30th with a prize fund of 250,000 euros. Any extra info that you need for these competitions, as well as the winning boards and jury comment, you will find in the link in the description. Let me show you the quick guide to create a winning competition board, which if you want, you can download for free from the link in the description. Before starting your presentation board, have a clear idea or at least 3 different ideas of what your board can look like and how it will be arranged. I usually grab a notebook or sketch within Photoshop, ways in which I can organize my information before actually doing it in InDesign. Parallel to choosing your layout, also try to get clear what story you are going to tell. Are you going to go from the context down to the construction details? Will you start talking about the general question that guides your project and start to present your solutions? Or will you start with a general image of your proposal and start breaking it down to the most minimal detail? Trust me, if you answer this question before you start, everything will be much easier. Think about it like this. You want everything to feel from the same universe, right? Just like this drawing and this render feels from the same universe, you want each drawing and render that you create to feel from the same world. So try to make all of your renders and drawings from the same universe. Color is a good way to place everything in the same universe. Try to define 2 or 3 main colors that your project has and try to place them around special parts of your drawings and renders. And these boards show a perfect example of how to stand out using color in your proposals. This is a tricky one. If you have too little of it, it can look weird, and if you have too much, it can feel like a book no one wants to read. So try to balance it out. Break it into small little chunks and place subtitles so the viewer can understand what each chunk is about. Now, if you apply these 5 tips, I will assure you that your competition board will look much better than 85% of the submissions. Now, do you feel inspired? Check out Buildner's competitions and start crafting your own winning board. If you made it up to this part of the video, congratulations, you are part of a special group of people that loves to hear each little single detail of the videos, or probably you maybe just forgot to press pause, and that's okay too. So if you want me to create more videos like these, comment down below. I would love to create more videos breaking down the best competition boards and analyzing them. If you want to check out our course on creating presentation boards, you can also click the link in the description or check this video out to start. And don't forget to visit Buildner to participate in every type of competition that you can imagine and expand your design skills with a worldwide community. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.